A group of Boeing employees are sitting on a plane getting ready for takeoff. The pilot comes on over the intercom and says, "Folks, we're pleased to have you flying with us on our brand new 737, fresh from our good friends at Boeing." Immediately, the Boeing employees all scramble to get out of their seats and off the plane as quickly as possible. It's utter pandemonium in the aisles, as everyone starts to panic. Everyone, that is, except for one old man, who remains sitting in his seat, quiet and unbothered. A junior executive looks at the old man and says, "Didn't you hear the announcement? If we don't get off now, this plane might fall apart mid-air." The old man says, "Sir, I've been an engineer at Boeing for over 30 years. I've been there through all of the ups and downs, the cost-cutting and outsourcing, the bad times and the good. And if I know how this company operates today, I can say with absolute certainty, there's no chance this plane will even leave the ground." A husband and wife were having dinner at a very fine restaurant when this absolutely stunning young woman comes over to their table, gives the husband a big kiss, says she'll see him later, and walks away. His wife glares at him and says, "Who the heck was that?" "Oh," replies the husband, "she's my mistress." "Well, that's the last straw," says the wife. "I've had enough. I want a divorce." "I can understand that," replies her husband. "But remember, if we get a divorce, it will mean no more shopping trips to Paris, no more wintering in Barbados, no more summers in Tuscany, no more Infinities and Lexuses in the garage, and no more yacht club. But the decision is yours." Just then, a mutual friend enters the restaurant with a gorgeous babe on his arm. "Who's that woman with Jim?" asks the wife. "That's his mistress," says her husband. "Ooh, ours is prettier." An American politician hits the road to advocate for his campaign. He visits a rural town and speaks to the townsfolk to learn how he can appeal to the people. A citizen steps forward and says, "We have a hospital with a plethora of medical facilities, but we don't have any doctors or nurses to work here and provide aid for our patients." The politician pulls out his phone and begins talking. After a couple of minutes, he hangs up the phone and tells the citizen, "Okay, I just spoke to my higher-ups and we'll have some medical workers sent to this town first thing tomorrow. Anything else you want me to know about?" The citizen said, "We also don't get any cell phone reception here." In a dusty town where tales of the Wild West live on, an old cowboy, his face telling stories of countless sunsets, saunters into a barbershop. He tells the barber he can't get all his whiskers off because his cheeks are wrinkled from age. The barber gets a little wooden ball from a cup on the shelf and tells the old cowboy to put it inside his cheek to spread out the skin. When he's finished, the old cowboy tells the barber that was the cleanest shave he'd had in years. But he wanted to know what would have happened if he had accidentally swallowed that little ball. The barber replied, "Just bring it back in a couple of days like everyone else does." A girl is riding in her boyfriend's car. The radio played a news break. The story was 2 Brazilian men died in a wildfire. The girl is visibly shaken hearing this news. She begins wailing, crying loudly. The boyfriend pulls over, stops the car, and begins consoling her. Eventually, she regains enough composure to communicate with her boyfriend, who is understandably confused why this news has such an effect on her. He asks her why this is the case, to which she replied, "How many is a Brazilian?" This lady is driving a convertible aggressively and cuts off a big truck. The trucker flashes his lights until she pulls over. The trucker walks up and says, "Lady, are you crazy? You almost killed me?" He draws a circle in the dirt and tells her to stand inside the circle and don't move. He returns from his truck with a bat and breaks her headlight. He looks over and she's smiling. He then takes the bat and breaks her windshield. Looks over and she's laughing. Enraged, he goes back to his truck to fetch some gasoline and sets her car on fire. He looks over and she's laughing hysterically. The trucker is astonished. He says, "Lady, what's so funny? I just trashed your car." She says, "Every time you turned away, I stepped out of the circle." A guy finds an old lamp in the desert. He rubs it and a genie pops out. The genie tells him he has 2 wishes. The guy says, "I always thought it was 3 wishes." The genie says, "Check your pants." The guy looks down and goes, "Whoa, it's huge." And the genie says, "I've been doing this a long time."